everyone. So today I'm going to talk to you about the housing market nationally and then also locally, and what that means to you if you're a potential buyer or potential seller. How will that impact you in your buying power or your selling power? So currently, if you look at the last 30 years of the mortgage rate interest, essentially if you look at the trend over the last 30 years, we were at record lows and now it's coming up. Now the reason why people are a little bit reluctant to buy is because it had such a sharp turn on the way up. As you can see, we went from about just under 3 to now about 7s. Now if you look at the last couple years pre-COVID, you can see that we were between 4.5 all the way to 5.5, and everyone is predicting that we're going to go back to those rates. Now how is that going to impact you? It's basically saying that there will be more buyers, right? And if you're a seller, this is a perfect time to sell because you will have a higher demand. Now let's look at price appreciation of properties over the last year. As you can see, these are 3 companies that essentially are very knowledgeable about the market nationally, and this is a national trend, and it shows you that we did have a dip nationally in home values. And so does that relate to a buyer or seller, right? What does that mean to you? What it means is that when you were buying a couple months ago, you had some wiggle room, right, to ask for repairs during an inspection, to ask for things to get done, things like that. Now, because the prices are still appreciating, what that means is the demand is still really high, but there's way less properties. So the prices of the properties are on the way up. As you can see, the price depreciation is very low, and the price appreciation is actually almost double what the depreciation was. So we're pretty much back the upward trend right now. So if you look at this data, this is essentially showing you what it means in terms of inventory and what it means in terms of demand. This is showing you the amount of properties that are under contract, pending sales, right? And if you look pre-COVID, pre the unicorn years, it was very, very steady, right around 460,000 properties in pending sales. And then during COVID, there was a large jump. People were buying way more homes. And now we're back in 2023 to the average number that it was pre-COVID. Essentially, the demand is back to how it used to be. Now, let's look at the average days on the market. During the unicorn years, there was a large dip in the amount of days on the market. Properties were flying off their shelves, right? And now, if you look at 2023, we're actually still lower than we were prior to COVID. So pre-unicorn years, we're still at a much lower amount of days on the market. Now this graph kind of drives it home in my mind. This is the final nail in the coffin that kind of explains today's market. So if you look at available homes for sale pre-unicorn years, you can see that it was quite high. And then during COVID, nobody had their homes for sale. It largely dropped. And so the sales went up, right? Amount of properties that people were buying. The amount of available properties dropped significantly. So prices went up, correct? Now we're back to a normal amount of homes under contract. So the demand is back to pre-COVID unicorn years. The amount of sales is back to pre-unicorn years. The appreciation is up. So why is that? Well, this is exactly explaining it. We do not have enough inventory. The amount of properties for sale and available for buyers to look at is still really significantly low. And so that's why those properties are still appreciating, because the demand is back to normal, but the amount of supply is still too low. So therefore, prices are going up. And that's why the days on the market are still kind of low, because buyers are realizing there's really not much else coming on the market. So if I like this home, I'm just gonna buy it, even if it's not exactly what I'm looking for, because it's just today's market. That's how it is. We just don't have enough inventory. Now, all these numbers, all these principles apply nationally. We are seeing this in Hawaii as well, even though those are, average numbers, national numbers. We're having the exact same problem, or I would say market. We're having the exact same market right here in Hawaii. And so that's why it's very important to understand how today's market is working out. If you're a buyer or seller, your incentives and how you make decisions should change according to today's market. What experts are saying is that they don't foresee any type of housing crisis at this time. They're seeing more of a crisis in terms of the prices are still going to appreciate as we go forward. Now, why are sellers reluctant? The sellers are reluctant because they have something called golden handcuffs. They have a mortgage rate that's very, very low. They have a home that's really big, right? They just don't like it, but they're willing to just stay in this big house or this big property that they don't really use or need because the mortgage rates are so high. And so when they look at, a condo in Florida or a condo in Hawaii where they would downsize, they're realizing that their monthly payment for that property might be the same, if not higher, right, than what they're paying currently. And so that's why our inventory is really not going up. Now, if you're a seller and you have, properties that you're not really using or that you don't really need, this is a perfect time to sell because the demand is so high that you're probably going to go to get a price that's similar to like 2006, 2005 times. So maybe you've been sitting on this property for about 15 to 18 years and you're not using it and you've never put it for sale, right? Because you bought it at the height of the market back in 2005, 2006. This is a perfect time to sell this property if you're not using it. Or you don't need it, because you will most likely be able to get the same price that you paid for it, if not more, from 2005, 2006. But why should you buy right now? If you're able to and ready and you're pre-approved, why wait? Why wait? They're saying that the inventory is going to stay pretty low. They're not foreseeing a gigantic housing crash or crisis, right? So why wait? I mean, if you find a property that fits what you're looking for your family, why do you keep suffering in a smaller property or something that doesn't fit what you're looking for? I would advise you to just buy a property that fits your family and makes your lifestyle what you're looking for. Now, the other thing, if you're a little bit reluctant about the mortgage rate, is that you can always refinance. Now, refinancing just means that in 2 to 3 years, depending on the type of mortgage that you have, you are able to change your rate. So you can just say, hey, I actually paid off this much of my loan. Can we just drop the number that I owe you to this? And then whatever the rate is today, hopefully you get the same one. So your monthly payment is lower, or maybe it's even lower. But if it is, then your monthly payment will be even lower then. So these are little options and tricks that, you can learn as you go, as you're a buyer. Your mortgage lender can definitely explain to you all these options and what that looks like. But I would say definitely if you can find a home that fits, most of your wants or needs for the home, I would advise you to just buy this property. I hope this was helpful. My name is Soraya Latournell. I'm a real estate agent in Hawaii, and I look forward to hearing from you if you need any help or tips on the real estate in Kona or in Hawaii, the Big Island. Aloha!